maybe you're under a level of delusion that this is the right thing for you based on what I've seen, not because I don't believe in you. If anything, it's because I don't think you actually want it bad enough to do what it takes, or it's so far out of character for you that you're not going to do it for long enough anyway.
You have to, okay, Kev, you're unorganized, I'm late. Are we going to change that, or are we going to work with it? And I think it's both. I think we're going to both improve and work with it. And ironically, if we don't work with it, we won't improve it.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. We hope you enjoyed yesterday's episode number 1698, Accuracy is Everything, Freestyle Friday. Today, for episode number 1699, how comfortable are you with your biggest weakness? We rented an Airbnb for Next Level Live, and several of the team members flew in, and Alan and I were there, and Amelia was there. And before Alan got there, I was like, hey, man, what do you want us to do while we wait for you? And he said, just go to the list and just start knocking stuff down. And I said, what list is that? And where is it located? And you said, I don't remember what you said. And then we didn't do anything. I told the team, I said, just hang loose, take it easy. Alan will be here later. Our fearless leader will arrive, and then we'll kind of take it from there. Take some time for yourself. I'm going to do the same. Brandon and I are going to go to the gym. You ladies do whatever you want. In our post-event huddle, Alan said, there was one thing that frustrated me, and I hate you. And I said, whoa. Tell me. He didn't say that last part. He said, you are wildly unorganized at times, and I need you to get it together. And I said, where is this coming from, dog? Where is this coming from? And he said, you didn't even know where the list was, man. I mean, we've been working on that list for like 6 months, and you didn't know where that was. And I said, that's fair. Fair play to you. You're correct. I could not locate that list. I said, in fairness, I don't know where anything is, and nobody does, except for you. In fairness. But you're right. So then we had a more serious conversation on, I don't remember what it was, and we were talking about how my organization skills need to come up. And one of the things Alan talked about is his timing. His on-time record needs to come up. Mm-hmm. So I was on a department meeting with the Next Level social media team, and on that meeting was Jerry Ann and Nicole. And they were talking about how organized they are. They said, yeah, we got the lists and everything's super organized. And I said, I'm very grateful that you two are on the Next Level social media team, because your strengths will help me increase and improve my weakness, because I'm not organized. Alan and I joke about it, but I'm not as organized as I need to be. And I've made a lot of strides since Next Level social media has kind of grown to be more organized. Now I'm very comfortable with talking about it, because yeah, it's kind of become a running joke, but I think more than anything, I know I'm trying to improve it as we go. I think the weaknesses that we're not working on become insecurities. The weaknesses that we are working on become improvement points. And I think those are very, very different places to be. So I thought doing an episode on that would be important, because if you're not willing to admit what your weakness is, if you're not comfortable talking about your weakness, it's going to be really challenging to improve. I just imagine as a man, if I was struggling with being vulnerable, and that was my biggest weakness, just vulnerability in general, it would be really hard for me to admit that and then go seek therapy to be more vulnerable.
Yeah.
As an example.
Well, that's a interesting meta example, because if vulnerability is a weakness, admitting that your vulnerability is a weakness is vulnerability.
That's very true.
Talk about a catch-22 situation.
Yeah. Some would say paradoxical, could even say that.
Yeah.
Somebody could, if they chose to use that word.
One of the words that has been repeated many times in this last chapter. Everything's paradoxical lately. It's been duality was what we talked about for a long time, and then now paradoxical. So you mentioned insecurity, you mentioned weakness. There's like layers of this, stop saying like. There's layers of this where by the time you can comfortably publicly admit a weakness, it's already not a weakness in a way.
Interesting.
How long have you faced the truth? Okay, so layer 1 is, no, I'm not disorganized, no. Okay, that's layer 1. That's where we all start.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm vulnerable as shit. Man, I don't struggle with vulnerability. Okay, that's layer 1, which is just you're insecure and you're defensive because you're insecure. No, that didn't offend me, not at all. Yeah, okay. So, fair. So we all start there. I'm not making that wrong. So layer 1 is you have a weakness, but you don't want to admit it. Layer 2 is you acknowledge that you have a weakness, but you don't know if you can change it. Layer 3 is you admit you have a weakness and you believe you can change it and you're working on changing it. Layer 4 is where Kevin and I got to, which is just accept me for me, man. I'm not changing this. And surround yourself with an awesome team that compliments you. So the name of this episode should be Own Your Weaknesses and Surround Yourself with People Whose Strengths Are Your Weaknesses. No, I think that last one is more playful than anything. And I think maybe that is layer 4 because I do believe that all strengths come with weaknesses. And if you're going to lean into your strengths, they're going to come with a certain weakness. So for example, driving things forward. So Kevin mentioned time being my weakness. Being on time, I would say, is a weakness. I don't think time in general is. Right now, we have 1 hour, 11 minutes, and 17 seconds to record these 3 episodes. I am timing myself in everything that I do so that I can get better with time. But one of the reasons why I'm not good with time is because I am good with time. And it's very paradoxical. Let me explain. I'm trying to maximize the needles that I can move forward in a given amount of time. Time, effort, money. Those are the 3 human resources that I'm constantly trying to maximize. So one of the reasons why I know that I'm not good at being on time is actually because I'm doing so many other things. I don't show up 10 minutes early to a meeting and just sit there and wait because I have so many other things that I need to be doing in that time. Whereas I know some people, they plan their whole day around a couple main things to be on time. And I respect that because being on time is very important. I'm not playing this game of it's not important. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is I have had that moment in the past where I think to myself, okay, well, that person's always on time, but really think about their day-to-day in comparison. What else do they have to do today? Okay, well, not really that much. So they're just kind of sitting there waiting. Now, does that devalue the fact that they're on time? Yes. Am I comparing to me in maybe an unfair way? Yes. But I also ask myself this question of, would they be on time if they were in my life? If they had to do what I have to do today, what I've decided to do today, would they be on time? And the answer is definitely not. So, how do you live in this paradoxical duality of, here's my weakness, it's because of a strength. So, for example, a strength for you is implement quick. As soon as you get a new awareness, you implement really, really quick. You implement really fast, but you don't exactly set up the train tracks for long-term sustainable success. The other people that you're mentioning, Nicole and Jerry Ann, I can guarantee you they are more organized than you, but I can also guarantee you that they don't implement as quickly as you from my perspective. So this paradoxical situation, and Jerry Ann and Nicole, please don't be offended. The point I'm making is Kev's real good at starting stuff. I'm talking good. The moment he has an idea, he wants to implement it. And I've never seen someone so quick to implement. You decided to have a podcast and had all the equipment and recorded within a day and a half.
I don't know if it was a day and a half. I had to order on Amazon. It was within a week for sure.
Within a week. That is a level of execution. Well, wasn't it 2-day shipping?
I don't know. This was in 2000. This is 2017, dog. I don't know what Amazon was like back then.
Amazon.
I don't know.
I don't know what Amazon was doing.
I don't know.
back then.
Well, the other
It was
thing
quick.
is,
I remember it felt really quick. Maybe not 2 days.
I might have
but-
been. I might have been traveling for work, so I wouldn't have had access to the stuff, even if it did get shipped to my house. I just don't know. I don't want to.
All right, so within a week.
I think that's fair. Yeah.
A lot of people take months and months and months to get the perfect name, perfect logo, perfect equipment, that kind of stuff. And I'm not making that wrong. I tended to be on that end too. It took me much longer time than Kev to set up my train tracks for my YouTube channel, my Conversations Change Lives podcast. So every strength comes with an inherent weakness. And so I think you need to look at both. Look at your weaknesses and think of what's the strength underneath this? What's the strength that maybe I'm taking for granted? If you're very confident, you also have a weakness of being overconfident. If you're extremely, extremely, extremely effective with your time, maybe you're not on time often because you're trying to maximize every second of every day. If you are really good at implementing things and taking action and doing tasks, maybe you're not quite as good at consistency or organization or whatever it is. Okay, so layer one is, here's the weakness, and I'm defensive and I don't want to admit that I have that weakness. All right, how do we move past that? You own it. This is a weakness. Number two is layer two. This is my weakness and I don't know if I can change it. If you were to say, Alan, you can never be late again, I would say, BS, brother. There's no way. There's no way. I have back-to-backs. I don't have a buffer. I need to go to the bathroom. I was late to a podcast by 2 minutes the other day. And I said, I'm so sorry I'm late. I just got off a coaching session. I had to go to the bathroom. They're like, oh, no worries. I don't even know if I want to live in a world where I can't have 2 minutes of wiggle room. And again, that's a choice. And then there's another layer of, do you even want to change it? You and I have talked in the past about our diet. I'm happy to eat fast food every now and then.
Yeah.
If that changes, I'll change it. I don't want to change that. Go ahead.
No, same. I think there was a time where we're a holistic podcast, and I was afraid people would think that meant that we're as holistic with diet as we are with everything else. And I like certain foods.
Same.
Not all. I'm not going to have it every night, but 20% of the time I will have food that's probably not great for me.
Yeah, and that's a weakness. I would say that's a weakness, but that's okay because that comes with the strength of we're on point with a lot of other stuff. It's also convenient and fast and cheap. So there's some strengths that come with it. Everything is pros and cons. And so anyone who takes that one sliver of your life and then judges you based on that is just not seeing the whole you. And I think it takes a lot of strength and a lot of courage to lean into that. So even this episode, us acknowledging our weaknesses, let's not make it about us. Let's make it about the listeners. What is the weakness that either you're afraid to admit or you've already admitted, or maybe you don't think you can change it or you don't want to change it? And that's kind of the thesis.
And why are you afraid to admit it if you are? Is it because you don't think you can change it? Is it because you haven't fully owned it yet? Is it because, what does this mean about me if this is a weakness? I think that's a really important fact because I've been disorganized since the very beginning. And I think in the beginning it meant to me something different than it means now. I don't know what it means to me now. Now it means I kind of like mayhem. I kind of do. I kind of like chaos. I like sending an audio message and pacing around and then sending 3 more audio messages and coming back into the office for 5 minutes and going back out. I like that at times. Maybe more than other people do. I don't know. I don't like things to be super sparkly all the time. I kind of like disorganized chaos. But I can obviously take that too far. So I think that depends. I think all of that depends on who you are and the results you're looking for. But my question would be, why are you afraid to admit what your weaknesses are? Have you not owned them yet? Do you feel like it's something about you? If you have a certain weakness, it means something about you? And admitting it is going to hurt your self-esteem worse? I think that's one of the hard things about admitting weaknesses is if you don't feel good about yourself, it makes you feel worse about yourself. It's not like you're looking at, here are the 75 things that you're doing amazingly, and here's the one thing that you're weak at. So it offsets. I think for a lot of us, it gets to the point where if you don't feel like you're doing anything well, you're not going to want to admit your weaknesses. You have a breakthrough over there?
Yeah, I just was thinking to myself, Is it possible to have a strength without a weakness?
Is it possible to have a strength without a weakness? I don't know. I mean, if you can run really fast, what's the weakness? You can't run for long periods?
Potentially. If you're really, really... I mean, think of the strongest bodybuilder. Are they ever going to be a marathoner?
No, probably not.
No. Think of the strong.
Yeah, that's fair.
Think of the best marathoner. Are they ever going to outlift, bench 350 pounds? No way.
Yeah, probably not. It's
I
fair.
think every strength comes with a massive weakness. That is just another iteration of that. Because it's not like that's the first time I've come to that realization, but I just had a moment where it hit different.
Does a weakness come with a strength, though?
Yeah, every time. Every time. You just have to find it. That's hit different lately. One of my clients I'm thinking about, she is so present, so emotionally mature, such high energy, so positive, so go with the flow, and that all sounds like strengths. But she doesn't track her finances until she started coaching with me. That comes with a weakness. I'm not go with the flow. Can you imagine? I'm not go with the flow. Fun, playful, go with the flow. No, but I'm extremely structured, organized, rational. The yin and yang symbol denotes masculine and feminine. Order and chaos. I know. I knew you were going to laugh at that. I say these words sometimes and I wonder.
If you didn't call yourself out, I wouldn't have.
Oh, of course. I do that on purpose because I think it's hilarious. Because that is my honest in my head. It's like denotes. Okay. So masculine, feminine, order, and chaos. You are chaos. I'm order. We work well together. And then we switch in certain things. That's what it is, yin and yang, Emilia and I. She's way more efficient than I am. I'm more effective than she is. This is so interesting. I am way better at doing one thing really well. She can multitask up a storm way better than I can. She can knock down a list of 12 things. I can get 4 of them done with excellence. And it's not like she's doing those things without excellence, but there's levels. Every single strength comes with a weakness, and every single weakness comes with a strength. I am convinced of that. And being holistic, talk about a somewhat losing game. You can do it, but it is a little bit of a losing game.
It's definitely
I'm
harder.
never going to be... Can you imagine me being like a go with the flow, enjoy yourself, present moment person?
Well, do you want to be, though?
No, I don't think it would be me. I don't think I'd be myself. It doesn't mean I can never be like that. I'm that every Saturday night. When the week's over, I'm very playful. I have a great night. But I can't spend 90% of my time there. Who I really am, who I really aspire to be, my natural inclination is to be very structured. I don't like being a mess. Dude, my fingernails are clipped. My hair's done. I have a nice shirt, watch, and I don't like anything being astray. We call it OCE.
I've noticed that about you.
We call it OCE at NLU, obsessive compulsive excellence. Some people don't have that, and that's okay. They're probably a lot more fun at a party than I am. The only time I could ever shut that off is when I was drinking. And then it came right back the next day after the hangover. But whoever you are, be that. And surround yourself with complementary people. We said this before, last thing I'll share on this episode. Kevin and I have common core aspirations. We are aiming towards the same mission. We have common core values. And we have common core beliefs. But we have complementary skill sets. We complement each other. He is not an engineer, mathematical, rational thinker. It doesn't mean he can't think rationally. Just like I am not a artist, creator, go with the flow, comfortable in chaos, implement now, worry about it later type of person. But it doesn't mean I can't do that sometimes. It's almost like you can visit and you can be a tourist, but you can't move in. The only place you can live is who you really are. And I think all of us would be better off if we owned who we are, loved ourselves for that, and then surrounded ourselves with people who complement us. NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know, if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month, 6 p.m. Eastern Time. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes.
How do you figure out, and this is a hypothetical question, how do you figure out whether it's a net win or net loss? Like, yes, I'm disorganized for sure, but I don't know if I've ever lost anything we've needed.
You have, but you don't know it because you don't know it's... And vice versa, though. Seriously, think about how much I've lost by not being go with the flow.
Well, I mean lost is in, like, documents. Not opportunities. I meant like just specific relics of business.
No, I don't think so.
Obviously, other things. But I'm just thinking to myself, would I rather be more organized and less take an idea and run with it? No, definitely not. I like this side of it. I like this side. It's almost like, oh yeah, you're really fast and you might strain your hamstring. Or you're really fast and you don't have the highest cardiovascular system. So you have to work on that. But you're still really fast. I like that, strong and flexible. I'd rather be strong first and then flexible second. I'd rather be fast first and then... But it depends. It really depends on what you're going for.
And then the question, Kev, is do you get to choose?
That I don't know.
You have to deal with the repercussions of that choice. So I chose to be a bodybuilder, but that's not my natural inclination. Emilia and I went running Saturday. We went to the backfield because the track was taken. And she was hilarious. She was playful. She was running and she said, "Catch me." And it was hilarious because she's 5'3" and I have these giraffe legs. So it was very cute. But I had that moment of if anything, you'd be a sprinter. And she's almost as strong as me in the gym. She's so jacked. But running, it would never be close. It would be so silly.
Did you do a mile?
For me.
You do a time mile?
Not yet.
I'm curious.
No. Yeah, I am too.
I
said, do you think I can do a 6:30?
How bad
I said that to
am.
her. She said, yeah, no problem. I am curious. I will soon. I'm excited
Video
for spring,
or it didn't
man.
happen. Video or it didn't happen.
Okay, I'll send you a screenshot. The one that I did in Canva. Edit it.
4 minutes and 18 seconds. Wow.
Yeah.
That's fast.
No, 3:28. Yeah, it was pretty good. So, for long pause.
Dramatic.
I think one of the biggest weaknesses that I have is holistic, and I think it also is a huge strength. I do. I think that's an L and a W. Long term, being holistic, it's almost like a decathlon. You ever do a decathlon?
No.
All right. For anyone
Shame
who's ran
on
track.
you for thinking I have.
Have you ever seen one? You seen a decathlon?
Also, no.
All right. The decathlon is,
Like
I think,
10?
a good metaphor.
10 things?
Yeah. So you have a timed mile. You do the shot put, the discus. You do the javelin. You do 100-meter. Again, I don't know the exact ones, but a decathlon is kind of who's the best well-rounded athlete. And the shot putters are usually not great at long-distance running. The long-distance runners usually suck at the shot put. Dude, I think I've spent the last 9 years trying to be the best decathlon in leadership, business, communication. You and I both. Health, wealth, life, and love. How many people are really, really good at all 4 of those? Very, very
less
few.
less and less the better and better you get.
Yeah.
For sure. And even me, I was looking at pictures from my past of like fitness. I'm nowhere near where I used to be.
I know. Same.
That's the hardest one. Everything else gets better over time. Fitness, it has not trended that way.
I know.
Unfortunately.
Well, owning your weaknesses, no matter what, is going to help you. And maybe there's a strength that comes with that weakness that you want to double down on. And I guess it's a duality. You have to, okay, Kev, you're unorganized. I'm late. Are we going to change that, or are we going to work with it? And I think it's both. I think we're going to both improve and work with it. And ironically, if we don't work with it, we won't improve it.
Mm.
Whereas if you were, that's it, Alan, I'm not working with you anymore for that. It's okay, worst idea ever. And that's me saying, well, Kev, if you don't get organized, none of this would be a thing.
Yeah.
What a mistake that would be. So you can't take someone's one weakness and hold it against them when you love all the strengths that come with it. So.
Well, and I think you figure out your own way too. That's one of the lessons I've had from working with you for so long, is a lot of the stuff that you've taught me and you've helped me implement has worked really, really well for me. There's other stuff that you do that I just don't want to do. I don't want to do it the way you do it. It just doesn't work the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like the whiteboard thing, I have a whiteboard, I can touch it. It's right here. There's my whiteboard. I don't even have it turned so it's facing me because it doesn't do this. It's not the same as having something on my desk where I can write on it. It's just not the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one more, it's like, okay, check whiteboard, then check notebook, then check peak performance tracker. Now it's just, I have an all-encompassing notebook on my desk that gets everything that needs to get done. That's been a game changer for me. An absolute game changer. Saturday, I didn't have any calls. I woke up I think I got up at 6 because Taryn left at 5. And I just went through and hammered tasks. And it was awesome. Just erasing them as I go. Awesome. Call this, do this, blah, blah, do this. It was awesome. But it was never the same if it was on the whiteboard for me.
Yeah.
So I think that's another thing, too, is organization, just an example, might look different for me than it does Alan. Being on time might look different for me than it does Alan. There's a piece of me, and it stresses me out, but I kind of like it. I like being back to back to back and not being able to go to the bathroom. I kind of like it because I want to be on time. It's like, I'll pee after. Again, that's maybe a weird thing. I don't know. But I like that. I like saying to the host, hey, I have to be off at the top of the hour. I did that the other day. The host said, how long do you have? And I said, I have until 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And he's like, that's when we can finish. I said, I just need a minute. So get me off at 11:59 or 12:59 will be fine. Got me off at 12:59. I was on the next meeting. Perfect. But I like that.
Last question.
Sure.
What do you say to someone, it's a little depressing of an episode, what do you say to someone where the results they want in life are not in alignment with their natural inclinations?
I don't know. That's a tough one because the last thing you ever want to do is tear someone's dream down. But the second to last thing you ever want to do is delude someone into trying to do something that they're never going to / wouldn't be happy doing. I think you be very, very honest, regardless of yourself, and depending on what your relationship. So for me, I have told clients that they should quit their podcast. Quite the opposite of as a podcast coach who's making money should do. I don't care. I want you to do what's right for you. This is what I've started saying recently. I used to do what was best for the business, the person. When I'm talking to someone, not us. I used to do what was best for the business. Then I started to do what was best for the podcast. Now I do what's best for the person. I don't care what's best for the business. I don't care what's best for the podcast. Because if it's not what's best for the person, it's not best for either of those. And it's not going to matter. Because you're not going to be here.
It's not going to matter long term.
No. So it's that. It's really, maybe you're under a level of delusion that this is the right thing for you based on what I've seen, not because I don't believe in you. If anything, it's because I don't think you actually want it bad enough to do what it takes, or it's so far out of character for you that you're not going to do it for long enough anyway. And even if you did get the result, I think you'd regret the sustaining of that result. The best.
Yeah, and the deepest, hardest one, very last thing is, I've talked about this iceberg a lot, this digital asset that I created, and it's helped me a ton. At the very bottom of the iceberg, the underneath the surface, the deepest layer is potential. Not everyone has the potential.
Yeah.
That's the hardest thing, is you being disorganized, right? Do you have the ability, if you could spend the rest of your life trying to be as organized as me, but you would have to, it's easier for me because it's natural for me.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Well,
That's
I should
like-
put 80% of my time into getting better at just doing things quickly, and then put 20% of my time into being more organized.
Exactly. And
Double
partner
down.
with someone who,
Yeah. It's hard. That this whole conversation's hard because it's so dependent on who you are and what the strength is and what you want, and does the strength lend to what you want? It's a challenge for sure.
Kev could work 100% time and effort toward being a better long distance runner than me. And I could work 100% of my time and effort to be stronger than you. And both of us are going to lose eventually. If the other person even puts in minimal effort. You and I ran that mile and you nearly died, even though you're athletic. It's just not going to... I'm being playful. You didn't nearly
No,
die.
I felt like I was going to die.
You fell to the ground for sure. But we all have natural... But here's the thing. I still want to be a bodybuilder. I've chosen in advance to be a bodybuilder anyway, even though I know I'm a lanky, tall, ectomorphic guy. I am making that choice knowing... I've always known, Kev, from the moment we started lifting together, that I'm going to have to put in 3 times the effort and 10 times the intelligence to be as jacked as you.
Mm.
And that's okay. That's okay. But I'm making that choice knowing that. And so now that I'm on the other end of this, if you want to start a business, you want to achieve a dream, you want to track habits and be organized and consistent, I can help you with that as a coach, but you're never going to necessarily do that on your own accord. That's real humility, is saying, you know what? Organization is not a strength, so let me hire a coach to help me stay organized. Because that's what I've been for you for 7 years. I've just helped you stay on the train tracks and redesign the train tracks.
Yep.
And you've helped me implement things I never would have done, dude. Seriously,
Well, you've been the train tracks in a lot of ways. I've gotten more organized, but I don't really have to be that organized because you're so organized.
Yeah.
Just like you don't really have to implement as fast as I do because I'll always do it. I want to do it.
Yep.
I don't not want to do it. I would rather do it. I would rather say, let me implement that for you and get it running, and then we'll figure it out from there.
NLPS and NLSM wouldn't exist if you didn't do that.
That's fair.
But the whole company as a whole wouldn't exist if I didn't create train tracks that are sustainable long term.
Yeah.
So yin and yang, and owning your weaknesses will help you tremendously surround yourself with the right people and love who you really are.
I like that. And last thing, if you're going to admit your weaknesses, make sure you admit your strengths. Give yourself credit for the strengths if you're going to give yourself credit, even if it feels like negative credit, for the weaknesses. If you are looking for a group of amazing humans and you're looking for a place where you can be yourself, you can be authentically you can get positive content every single day. Yes, we have the podcast, obviously, but we also have a private Facebook group, Next Level Nation, and we'll have the link in the show notes. Also, Next Level Group Coaching Round 15 starts on July 7th or 9th?
9th.
I will get it right eventually. 9th at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we are moving back an hour earlier. Our meetup, our group coaching, that's it. Just those two. Because book clubs on Saturday, it stays the same. So Alan and I are kind of changing up our window, our service window. So group coaching will start at 5 for the next round. Everything this round is staying the same. And then the first meetup that will be affected by that is Thursday, June, please hold, 6th. Thursday, June 6th, our next meetup will be at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So a lot of stuff going on. We'll have the link in the show notes for all that stuff. Tomorrow, Alan, Jeffrey Lazarus, for episode number 1,700. Wow.
1,700.
Wow. Every change starts in the imagination. I watched a movie from 1980 on Sunday. That's how my weekend went. So we're going to talk a little bit about the lessons. It was Airplane. So it wasn't like I don't know, maybe a dumb movie. I guess that is a dumb movie. It's a good movie. But that's the movie I watched. So we're going to talk about that in tomorrow's episode. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
Own who you are. Next Level Nation.